What up, IGTV peeps? We are talking elbow pain, referred elbow pain more than likely. Tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, specifically probably tennis elbow for this video because I've suffered from it for myself. And I recently was on the Ryan Russillo podcast and he suffered with it for 1.5 years. And so hopefully he never does that again if you watch this video, and you guys as well. Tennis elbow can be ridiculously annoying. And when I say tennis elbow, I'm talking on the outside of the elbow. Golfers tends to be on the inside. A lot of times it can be overuse. There's a million reasons why it can be happening, but oftentimes that's it, because that tissue just becomes tight, usually either above or below the joint. So it's not necessarily the elbow itself that is the problem. It's usually either from the forearm or the triceps is what we tend to find here. And again, when I went through it, I had it for probably a good 1.5 months, and I worked on it every single day. And once it's there, it's really tough to get rid of. The odd thing is I could do certain things. I could do pull-ups, but if I would reach for, let's say, like a piece of paper from a neutral grip, it would feel terrible. And if somebody bumped into me, it was like I got shot in the arm. What I found was working the stuff above and below the elbow tend to help me. The first thing I would do is work through the triceps, and these are just peanuts. You guys can probably get them on Amazon. They're super simple. They actually fit just right actually in there, and you're gonna put it just above where the elbow is. And for a lot of you guys, let the hand relax. You're not flexing it, it's just soft and relaxed. And just let your body weight fall into it. If that's enough pressure, it's fine. If you take the top hand, it can dig in even a little bit more. And you guys are just gonna kind of hunt for those tight or trouble spots. And we're gonna roll it vertically for the moment, just nice, slow, and controlled. And again, you guys can rotate the hand from, pronated, you guys can supinate it, you can go in the neutral grip, and you're probably gonna find some spots where you go, oh shit, that's really tight and tender. Spend the time there. I also do like to just kind of wiggle side to side slowly, and even from a vertical pattern, I'm rolling towards the elbow and then away from the elbow. As I rotate side to side, I kind of dig into the tissue. You guys can spend anywhere from like 3 to 5 minutes per side, especially on the one that is bothering you. Now, you can also take the same pattern and do it on the forearm, as you guys can kind of push in to the forearm and dig. I don't do this one as much because I like the manual manipulation of the fingers, but that does work as well to kind of dig into that forearm. If you guys have access to like one of the Theraguns or like the Tim Tam, any of these, they're pretty simple. It can help. Just get it loose. Again, the key is let it be soft, and you guys can push and dig in as hard as you want to into the soft tissue, not on the joint itself. So if you guys have tennis elbow and it hurts on the actual elbow, do not mess with the spot that's tight. You're only going to piss it off and it'll become more inflamed, but it's the tissue around there. You guys can do the same thing with the tricep. You guys can kind of work your way through it, just finding the spots where you might have any restriction or any issues that are in there. Now, the one thing I did find was probably the most beneficial was my particular issue usually was coming from the forearm. So I'd let the hand be relaxed, and I would take my thumb and I would just go kind of that cross fiber, cross tissue stretching, and you're gonna feel it. You're almost gonna feel like there's, for lack of a better term, there's like cords in there, and you're just kind of basically working your way through them and just trying to split them up. And if you find a spot like it's super tender, take your time and just manipulate and kind of mobilize that tissue right in there to try to get it loose. Then you can take something like the Tim Tam and kind of work through it. That's where I had a lot of my restrictions. Some people can be on the tricep, it's the same thing. You just can take the thumb and you guys can work your way through the tissue. Your fingers work all the same. Another easy little trick I would do is you can take the fingers into the forearm, really dig in when you find a spot, like let's say it's tight there, and then almost like you would do like a little ART, like you're gonna rotate through that space as it's in there. And you can let it relax, you can move it and kind of manipulate it and see if you find these spots that are tight. Because a lot of times, again, you've used it a little bit too much. Even if you never played tennis, you never played golf, it's just that overuse, that tissue becomes tight and then the nerve becomes pissed off, and obviously you guys, you have yourself a real issue. Also, a real basic stretch. Obviously you guys, if it's tight, we can pull back on the fingers. What I found personally was if I took towards the top of the hand and I pulled, and again, you can do a lot of flexion extension drills with the wrist to kind of stretch the forearms. Again, you can rotate it through space. For a lot of you guys, if it's tight, this is gonna help a ton to kind of get things loose. So again, you work the triceps, you work the forearm, you give them a stretch. If it is coming from above, looks again, like I said, the peanut does wonders. If you can manually manipulate it with your fingers, that's great. Or if you want to stretch the triceps, I do like going with a band setup. So you guys would take a band similar to this, probably pretty strong resistance, and we're just going to kind of lean into it and just let that tricep stretching. And we can rotate the hand as well, depending on how much pressure you guys can take. And obviously the further away I go, the more it's going to stretch. If you guys are tight, it's going to come all the way obviously down the tricep. It might even pull into the lat a little bit, which is totally fine. And then you guys just let it stretch, and you can take your time with this as you kind of rotate and find any spots that are tight. And you can even work the fingers through it once it's actually pulled tight to see if you can find any of the issues that might be causing you to have either tennis elbow or the golfer's elbow. So even if you don't play tennis, you don't play golf, personally, I think me doing the pegboard is what jacked up my elbows. It's the only time I've really had it, but again, if you guys are doing anything, it could be bicep curls, anything where you're gripping consistently, it can really piss it off. So give those a try. Hopefully it helps. If you guys have any questions or comments, drop them here.